help appreciate Oluwaseun, please. You're welcome, Seun. Thank you for your time and for looking to share your wealth of knowledge with us. So quick one, Oluwaseun Okunlola is a certified senior business analyst, I would say, with multiple years of experience in financial and public sector. She's currently serving as a senior business analyst with the government of Saskatchewan, and she specializes in business processes and system analysis with a proven track record of streamlining operations and enhancing system efficiency. Seun's expertise includes business analysis, project management, and system implementation. She has led high-impact projects such as developing BRD and SRS documents, implementing Microsoft Dynamics, and designing prototypes with Figma, Microsoft 365, and Visio. So Seun has also streamlined processes using Power Platform and utilizes Atlas tools and Azure DevOps for creating user stories, and she manages database efficiently. She has also worked with Saskatchewan Cancer Agency, Regina Public Library, and whilst back home in Nigeria, she worked in Standard Chartered and also Wema Bank. Her valuable insights into business analysis and system implementation and extensive experience in private and public sector provides a comprehensive perspective on career development in business analytics and IT. Please join me as I welcome Oluwaseun Okunlola, our senior business analyst, as she facilitates the business analytics career transitioning program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Inga. Thank you for the introduction. I also want to thank Lofty Heights for this opportunity. I also want to thank all those down call. Thank you for joining us. I hope that you get as much as you want from this session. I'm hoping it will be interactive. And I'm hoping that at the end of the day, we would have all gained something from this session. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen.
So Seun, before you begin, please, one second, please, ground rules, please. Can we please ensure that mic are muted? And also after the session, there will be Q&A. So you can note down your questions and you can also drop it at the chat, but immediately as soon as Seun finishes presenting, I'll read out the questions, or you could raise your hands if you need to ask questions. Thank you. Seun, you can proceed, please. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so thank you once again for joining the call. Like I said, I hope this will be an interactive session. So switching to business analysis, I hope you can all see my screen. Okay.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, all right. So I know that the first question people would normally ask me is, can I become a business analyst? And the question is, yes, anybody can become a business analyst. I know that at some point, when we had a lot of people migrating to Canada, if you're in Canada, at some point, the people that would normally transit into tech or business analysis were people that had some form of experience in technology back in Nigeria or back in their country homes. But that has since changed. In fact, from experience these days, I've come to see that people who move from sales, they seem to be doing better. They are greater facilitators. They are able to, they are warm. They are able to get across to the stakeholders. They're able to ask the right questions. So basically, if you put your mind to it, anybody can become a business analyst. Then the next question would be, what do business analysts do? If you've done your research, if you've been interested in business analysis and you've joined a bootcamp before, you probably have an idea of what a business analyst do. And what they do basically is that a business analyst helps a company figure out what it needs and finds the best way to meet those needs. They talk to different teams, they gather information, and they make sure solution works for everyone. That's what a business analyst do. You are not a subject matter expert in terms of the business. You don't need to be a technical expert in terms of understanding programming languages and things like that. You're the go-between. You're the one who, so there are two types of ways that a problem can be identified. You can identify a problem and work with the business to find a solution to it. Sometimes the business itself will identify a problem and reach out to you or your team for a solution. Now, the work of a business analyst is to, first of all, gather requirements. And how do you gather requirements? You need to use tools such as how do you find out what these requirements are? There are a lot of techniques to find this out. You can do this through interviews. You can do this through observations. But if you're working on a project, which is the case in most cases for a business analyst, the best way to do this will be through workshops, facilitation. So as a business analyst, it's expected that you understand who your stakeholders are. Who are the people that need these problems, that have this problem? Who are the people that will be approving my document? Who are the influencers of this project? Who are the sponsors of this project? Those are the things that you need to understand. And well, don't worry yourself. If you're in an organization, people would probably support you and let you know who these people are anyway. They don't expect you to resume today and know who those people are. So you most likely will get support. People telling you that these are the people that you need to speak with. So as a business analyst, your next call will be to start having facilitation sessions where you will gather these stakeholders in a room, one-on-one, or via online meetings, virtual meetings, and find out from them what the specific problems are. Some of these sessions take 2 to 3 meetings. Some of these sessions take longer. But your goal as a business analyst is to be able to work with stakeholders, to be able to ask them the right questions. Before you go for your meetings, you're prepared. Most likely, they might have sent a proposal of what their problem is. You've looked at it. You ask the right questions. You use what we call root cause analysis. You use what we call the 5 whys to ask, why is this a problem? Why is this a problem? Why can't it be done like this? What is wrong with the current process? Why do we need an extensive solution and things like that? And your duty as a business analyst will then be to gather requirements. Because you've asked these questions, you now have an understanding of what the needs are. So the next thing will be for you to document this requirement. So as a business analyst, it's expected that you know what they call modeling. They tell you this is their problem. You should be able to model it in form of a flow chart to ask them, this is what you've said your process problem is. Is this really the problem? Look at the flow chart that I've drawn out. Can you validate it? So you gather requirement, you facilitate sessions, you gather requirement from those sessions, you validate that you have the right thing, and then you document. There are different ways to document. Some organizations will ask you to document using what we call a business requirement document, where they want you to list what we call functional requirements. These are the requirements that must be done by the development team, or non-functional requirements, which are requirements that are performance-based. This is what would be a good to have for this system to work. Some organizations require you, who are more agile, may require you to have these things documented in form of a user story, where you also list acceptance criteria to say, these are the things that must be done. Once you have your documents in place, you then begin to go for what you call approvals. Remember, the problems, you did not have to come up with the problems. Those problems were identified by the business. Yours is to gather the requirement. Your function is to document this requirement and also get approvals for what you have documented. And then work with the development team for them to be able to come up with a solution. You are not solutioning. You are not telling the development team what they need to do. You don't even need to know what they need to do. So That is basically the work of a business analyst. And at every point in time, you need to ensure that the solution works for your stakeholders. If your stakeholders are not happy, then you have not done anything, which is why as a business analyst, even if you've taken a project to the end, they've completed development on the project, you need to ensure that you're also a part of what we call UAT, user acceptance testing. And this is because you want the project to be a success. You need to make sure that you're part of what we call creating a test plan. Who are the people that we test? What hardware would they use to test? What should be required as pass or fail on this test? Being able to identify what we call bugs. There's an error. Those are the things that you will need to be able to do as a business analyst. Once the UAT is completed and everything goes well, then the project can be launched or the product can be launched. So that's basically the work of a business analyst. And anyone can become a business analyst. I did not start my career as a business analyst. I had to learn. So anyone can become a business analyst, but those are the fundamentals of what we do. You don't need to understand it's a good thing if you understand program languages. It's a good thing if you understand prototypes and the rest of them, but you don't need to be that technical. You just need to be able to facilitate. You need to be able to get your act right when it comes to documentation. You need to be able to support your stakeholders to be able to come up with a solution that they are happy with. That is basically what a business analyst does. So there are different career paths in business analysis. I already explained what a business analyst does. The next one will be business systems analyst. So the business systems analysts, they specialize in the technical side of business analysis. They work closely with IT teams to design and implement systems. So while the business analyst works with the business to design business problems, identify gaps, and look for solutions, the business system analyst works more with the business to be able to improve systems, on-premise systems, cloud-based systems, anything that is a system that helps the business to grow is what a business systems analyst does. You understand how the system works. You can come up with what we call specification document concerning a system, and you can model it. Now, before, business analysis used to be restricted to, they didn't have to be IT or technical in nature. But these days, I see that business systems analysts and business analysts, they basically do the same thing these days, because these days, if you're a business analyst, you no longer just do gather requirement for business that is non-technical in nature. These days, you seem to have to be able to understand some things in IT, or some systems, or the system that your organization uses. You need to be able to understand it these days and be able to come up with system designs and solutions. So I would say that you can have them interchangeably, basically. And it's not so difficult to become a business systems analyst. When people hear systems analyst, they become worried. But the truth is that even if you have prior experience on a system before you join an organization, if you join a new organization, their customization is different. If you've been using what we call Dynamics 365 before in an organization, and you come into a new organization, there's every likelihood that the customization from what you were doing in your previous organization, the interface will be different from what you're doing in the new organization you're joining, and you have to learn. What stands you out is your ability to learn quickly. So if you're new, you have no idea you've not used any systems before, which is very unlikely. If you're a customer service representative, you've probably used one form of CRM before. If you've worked in the bank before, you have an idea of what their core banking application looks like. And most banks these days also have some form of CRM. If you've used any form of CRM before, those are systems. So if you've used the CRM before and you're joining another organization who uses that same system, you're an expert. So I think what will stand you out is your ability to learn a new system quickly and be able to perform the functions of a business analyst. Now, for product owner focuses on managing a product development. If you're interested in product ownership or product owner, I would say a product owner is like a movie director. You come up with the roadmaps for the product. You come up with the planning for the product. You do market research on the product. You do what we call competitor analysis. What are other organizations doing on this product? What is their pricing? What are their special offerings? As a product manager, you worry about channels of delivery of a product. You would prioritize what we call backlog. That is to say, you will prioritize functions that are most important for your client based on the extensive research that you've done. Those are the job functions of a product owner. Now, most big projects will have a product owner and a business analyst. And sometimes if you want to apply for a role, you will see them say, if you have CBAP, you can apply for, or if you have experience in business analysis, you can apply for this role. If you've had experience in product owner, you can apply for the business analyst role. And that's because their works are, what they do, their roles are interwoven. And the only difference is that the product manager is like the movie director. They see the product from the end. They are concerned about the roadmap. They may not write the user stories or manage the backlog, but they control prioritization of what we call a backlog. And the backlogs are functionalities that we've itemized that a project or a system should have. Then we begin to prioritize them based on which is more important. So if you want to become a product owner, I know there are so many opportunities out there, especially for those of you who live in corporate cities. You live in Ontario, you live in Toronto, cities like that that have corporate offices. There are many opportunities for who wants to become product owner. And I know that there's a product school that is online that is very good. If you want to become a product owner, they do AI product owner and things like that. There are so many opportunities if you want to become a product owner. For a business data analyst, they specialize in data to help the business make informed decisions. So this role would be more appropriate for somebody who understands performance management. If you have good understanding of how to, any of our relational databases like, SQL, Oracle, you know how to maneuver your reports on Excel, you're very good with visuals and maybe Power BI. This will be the role for you. If you're very good with any of the relational databases. And for a business data analyst, what they do is just to be able to help. They're like the detectives. They help a business to identify where there might be something wrong in terms of data, in terms of loss on cost or expenses that are going very high. So when you have a project, a business data analyst is also very important because they help create stories that we see. We want a report. They help us put the reports nicely. You see those reports in tabs. You see them looking really nice in good visuals. And those are the reports that help make some very important decisions while a project is ongoing, or very important decisions for a business. So the role of a business data analyst is also very important. For those who may be interested in business data analysis, I know that International Institute of Business Analysts, they offer courses on business data analytics. So you might check that out if you're interested in data analysis. So for a business process analyst, they do very similar things to what a business analyst would do. They focus on improving business process. I know somebody mentioned that something about procurement, that was what they did. That was what a business analyst would do. If there were to be a procurement process that is manual, a business process analyst will come up with a process that is less manual, may not necessarily be technology solution, but they will come up with a process that is less manual and more efficient by working with stakeholders to be able to achieve that. Now, the business process analyst, the business analyst, the business systems analyst, for most organizations, you will perform all those options. You perform all those roles. Once in a while, there'll be something on business process analysis that you need to do. Once in a while, there'll be something on systems analysis that you need to do. So business analyst, business systems analyst, and business process analyst, I feel that those roles are very interwoven. It is only in rare occasions that you see it spelled out, especially for business process analysts, and it becomes a separate job altogether. So what are the skills that a business analyst should have? If you want to go into business analysis, you should have requirement gathering skills. You should be able to, if you're a shy person, you need to dust it off. If you're a shy person like me, you will need to dust it off. If you need to go for training and facilitation, if you need to watch people do some facilitation, you need to train yourself. You need to be able to gather requirements. You need to be able to speak with stakeholders and get them to say what is really the problem. Sometimes you may hold a meeting for 30 minutes and nothing is being said. You have to be a skillful business analyst to be able to ask the right questions and get the stakeholders to come up with their real problems. It's also good if you understand process modeling. That is where you come up with flow charts. Somebody says that this is the problem we're having. We need to change our process. You need to be able to map out a flow. And this is the current process. This is where it goes to. That is where it goes to. This is where it goes to. And to learn process modeling is not difficult. If you go to YouTube, there are lots of videos. You can take a course on Udemy. If you were to work on a flow chart, you can even go to your Google and find out, show me process flow that shows blah, blah, blah. Something will come up for you. Just be aware. It's also very important as a business analyst, when you are told to do something, you know what you should do. Oh, this is a process flow problem. Oh, this is a requirement gathering problem. But the knowledge of process flow is very important. And then you can also learn that on the job. Documentation, you need to understand what a business requirement document is. So a business requirement document is a document that you state the business problems. What is the objectives? What are their current problems? What is the future solution that they are looking at? You state what the functional requirements are. You state what the non-functional requirements are. You state what the acceptance criteria would be for the business, for them to consider whatever is being proposed, the solution. So you need to have knowledge of documentation. You need to understand how a user story, how you can write a user story. What would be a good user story? What would be good acceptance criteria? What are good business rules? You need to have an understanding of those things. And you need to have technical knowledge. Now, when I say technical knowledge, people often mistaking this to mean that you should understand what the technical people do. You don't need to understand. And even as a business analyst, when you begin to solution for the technical team, they won't be happy with you. So you really don't need to have that technical knowledge of what they do. When I mean technical knowledge, I mean you should be able to understand technical things that a business analyst does, such as how do I write a user story? How do I come up with a business requirement document? How do I come up with a good flow chart? Those are the technical things that I'm speaking to. And then you must be able to solve problems. Now, sometimes you would have, just this week, I was given an Excel spread with about 10 rows. And I was told that they've been trying to put this in a visual. They've been trying to do this for months. You know what, you're a business analyst, just figure it out. Those are some of the things that will come to your table. You should have good problem solving skills. You shouldn't look at things just at the forefront. You should be able to think out of the box. You should be able to think thoroughly. Those are very important skills for a business analyst. You must be able to solve problems. You may not be able to solve problems on the first day, but as you grow as a business analyst and based on experience, it's expected that you can solve some problems when they come up. Some other qualities are that you should be curious. I know some people, you will see something, maybe you see somebody talking about something, or they're saying something about a metadata, or they're saying something about this and that. You're like, what's that? And you just move on. You should ask yourself, what does this mean? Go check it out. If you have any of the AI tools, go check it out. You must be curious. If you're curious about things like that, you would also be curious on the job. You want to find out what other team members are doing. You want to find out why this is really a problem. You will keep asking questions as a business analyst, so you have to be curious. You need a lot of patience as a business analyst. People are going to change their minds. The people are going to change their minds. People that told you they wanted this now, they are going to come back next week and say, well, we have a new boss and we don't want this. Oh, did we say we wanted this? You have to learn a lot of patience. You can't get angry and say, but I already put this down. You can't do that. You have to be patient, resilient. It will get tough. Especially if you're new on the role, it will get tough. Some projects would also get tough. You have to be resilient. You have to make sure that you have that willing spirit to always see things through to be a successful business analyst. You must have integrity. When you're writing down your requirements, you don't write down what somebody has not said. You must write down what the business has said. If you're coming up with a report, make sure that your report is of integrity. Let people be able to trust your work. Let them say, oh, if there was a reporting, if there was an error in that report, it could be that the data team who pulled it. Let them be able to say things like that behind you that, oh, I'm sure it's not she wouldn't do that. So you must have integrity on your job and in your personal life. And you must also be adaptable. Systems will change, bosses will change, stakeholders will change. The needs of the stakeholders will change. You must be adaptable to be able to accommodate all those changes as a business analyst. So I'll go to the next slide. So this next slide is the storytelling slide, and I'm going to tell my story, how I became a business analyst. In 2020, I and my family agreed that we wanted to relocate to Canada. And I started to think, when I get to Canada, what would I do? I started to do research. I have background in product management. I also have background in human resources. I actually started my career in human resources. So I sent a mail to the professional body from Nigeria to ask some questions, and I got some answers. I wasn't sure that was the path I wanted to tow. So I began to ask questions about business analysis too. I sought a former colleague who we used to work together, who had been here like 3 years prior. And he told me about business analysis and all that. So I decided that this was what I was going to do. I did my research. I would check job roles online. I wasn't applying. I was in Nigeria. I still had a job, but I would check the adverts and see, is this something I can do? So I decided I'll go for business analysis, and I registered for the exam. That's the Certified Business Analyst Professional exam. I tried to read on my own. I couldn't, so I registered online with I registered with an organization who would take me through the training. I was supposed to go there weekends, but I couldn't, so I switched it to online. I decided to write the exams before coming to Canada, and that's because I worried that if I came to Canada with my family and my 3 children, I may not be able to read for the exam. But back home in Nigeria, I had all the support that I needed. So I read for the exams and I passed. When I came to Canada, I started to apply. We got to Canada September that year. I started to apply for business analyst jobs, and the jobs were not coming, and I was getting worried. And, this my friend just told me to keep at it and that I will get a job. And I think by November that year, I got a BA job. Because I wanted I wanted to focus on business analysis. I didn't apply for any other type of job apart from business analysis. So I had time every day just focusing on business analysis job. I also tried a few product role jobs, but it didn't work out because, like I said, my background is in product management. The product management jobs didn't work out, and that's because I realized that most product management roles were they had openings in major cities like Toronto. And so I guess they prefer or they favor those who live in Toronto as against somebody who lives in Regina, Saskatchewan, which is where I stay. So it was becoming very difficult for me to break into that field. A lot of rejection mails. We are sorry, we've moved on. So I decided to focus on business analysis and focus in the city where I reside. And I got the business analyst job and resumed in December that same year. Now, this is where I'm going to. The very first role that I held, it wasn't very easy. Although I was coming with a background in product management, which is very similar to what a business analyst does, but that was in a different climb. I also managed a few digital products, but I was more of a product manager on traditional products. So my first job, I struggled, but what I did was to look for mentors. I looked for mentors. I would speak to mentors. I would go to YouTube and be there learning different things. I learned power apps on my own on YouTube. Those were things I started to do just to be able to, you know, the pimples I did not have before, they appeared on my face from that first row. People were wondering that, you are in Canada, and are you not supposed to be looking fresh? I wasn't looking fresh at that point, but I have since grown out of, you know, that struggle. So it may not always be easy for you, but you can do it. Anybody can become a business analyst, basically. It doesn't take rocket science. So that's my story. I also would say that if you're interested in business analysis and maybe you don't have your CBAB yet, or you are worried about just going into business analysis straight up, there are some other roles too that you can consider. I have a friend who started her career in systems analysis. She took a more junior role and she learned a lot about the systems in that organization. Now, when an opening was available for a business analyst, she was the obvious choice because they wanted somebody who understood the system of the organization, and she was the obvious choice. So those are also ways that you can, you know, grow to become a business analyst. So, like I said, to become a business analyst, you need to understand the role. You need to understand the role. Research and learn what a business analyst does. What are their key responsibilities? What are the skills required? It is not a role that you want to jump into. If you need to attend boot camps, please attend boot camps. If you need to attend webinar sessions like this, please attend. It is not a role that you can jump into, especially if you go into a BA role where you are the only business analyst in that team. You may struggle. So it's better that you do your research well and find out what your capabilities are. What are the key responsibilities? If you even see a role advertised, you need to find out what are the things here. Can I do them? Also develop relevant skills, develop analytical skills, clear communication, be able to call you. It's very important that you can communicate well. They must understand what you're trying to project in terms of verbal communication and written communication. So those are the things that you can improve in. Problem solving, understand technical skills. What are flow charts? What are prototypes? Those are the things that you can develop yourself in without having to spend so much. Like I said, you can take courses on Udemy. There's so many materials available on YouTube that you can go to just to become better and developing relevant skills. For certifications, I've come to find that I've seen people become business analysts without CBAM, and that's the truth. I've seen people who have PMI become business analysts without necessarily the CBAP certification. I've seen people move, like my friend, move from systems analyst role to become business analyst without certification. But if you want to become a business analyst, I would advise that while you are applying for the business analyst roles, it's also important that you're planning for your CBAP, your business analyst certification exams. And that's because there are a lot of people who now have this certification, and if 10 people were to apply for a role and 8 of them have CBAP, there's every likelihood that they would consider those who have the certification as against those who do not have. So while you're applying for your role, I also advise that you start to plan to write the exams. based on your locations, if you check online, you'll find organizations, training organizations that offer courses in business analysis, just to be able to prepare you to read. Because if you want to look at the Babok book itself, which is the which is like the Bible for this CBAB certification, it's a lot and it might be difficult for you to read it on your own. If you also are not able to find something if you're also not able to find something within your location, you can also, especially for those of us who are Nigerians, you can also go to Nigeria and find something online, so that you can prepare alongside an online learning training center for the CBAB exam. The CBAB exam, I don't know how much it is now, but as at when I wrote it 3 years ago, I can't even remember how much I paid, but I know that it's about 120 questions and I think about 3.5 hours for you to write the exam. So it's not an exam you walk into, so you might want to find an organization that will help you study through so that you can excel in the exam. Gain experience. There are so many boot camps. Find the one that is not too expensive. Do your research to see if the boot camp is one that a lot of people have gained from. Look at reviews and pick a boot camp that is good. Offer volunteer. If your church is doing something or they are doing a project, please volunteer and learn how project is done. If you have a media team or there's a digital team, please volunteer. If you belong to any other association where they need digital team members or there's something in tech that they are doing, this is your opportunity to volunteer so that you can start to learn the ropes. Network, network, network. It's very important for you to network. If you're not on LinkedIn and you want to become a business analyst, I think you should update your profile on LinkedIn. Start to connect with people, because even when recruiters look out and they see that you only have 35 connections, they may begin to wonder, is this person a real business analyst? So you might want to connect with friends, connect with business analysts in your areas. Look for business analysts in my location. You'll find those who are business analysts, request to become their friends. And this way, my second job in Canada here, this was how I got the role. One of the recruiting agents reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, would you be interested in this role? And I said, yes. And that was how I got that job. So you want to network, you want to update your profile on LinkedIn. Is very important. Let people know that you're a business analyst. That's very important for you. I'm trying to beat the time for, I hope I'm still the time. Okay.
Yes, please. You have. We still have time. Thank you.
Okay. So the next thing I will say is that how to get a BA job. Tailor your resume and cover letter to every advertised role. I see that what a lot of people do is that they tell me, oh, I have a business analyst resume and I had to pay someone to do this resume for me. I had to pay 200 CAD and I'm not getting roles. You will not get any role because you are using one resume to apply for several BA roles. The recruiter or the hiring manager is seeing that you have this experience, but the question they're asking themselves is, how is it relevant to me? So to be able to do that, if you have any of the AI tools, the popular one, ChatGPT, you can go to your advertised role and go to your resume and ask AI to help you model your resume in such a way that it aligns with the advertised role. If you don't, that's the easiest way to do it now. Just go to your artificial intelligence and say, help me model my resume to fit the advertised role so that you can begin to, so that it begins to look like what has been advertised. Also, you need to subscribe to job sites so that you can see the jobs that are being advertised. Subscribe to organizations you are interested in. The popular ones are Glassdoor. So if you're interested in a business analyst job, subscribe to Glassdoor to say that they should send you an alert for every BA role. And then organizations that are more techy, Randstad, Adzuna, those kind of platforms, they would or they always have rules for technical people, those who are in the field, technical field like BA and project management. So in those kind of job sites, you'll be able to see, you can subscribe to them so that you get alerts on when there's a BA role or any role that you're interested in. So it's very important that you subscribe to job site. Even on LinkedIn, you can subscribe to receive BA roles, or you can say, I want to receive BA roles and product owner roles if you're interested in that. And it will constantly show you those kind of roles at every point in time. So tweak your resume to match required job skills. I think I would like to share an example of my resume, and as against the job role, as against my last job role, as against my current job role. So can we all see this?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, so the job I currently do now, this was the advertisement for the job. They said they wanted somebody who is responsible for business systems and process analysis, support diverse set of stakeholders by problem solving, present and explain complicated technical ideas and concepts, provide workshops to business subject matters, create system interface, design mockups. They talked about influence and persuade stakeholders using technical expertise. And some of the skills that they want here, they want somebody who has knowledge in Cognos, Microsoft Dynamics, EOS, Azure DevOps will be considered an asset. Now, an example of what they want. For me, the key takeaway was they wanted you to have any of these skills. Now, I didn't have the skills in EOS. I didn't have skills in Cognos at the time, but I had skills in Microsoft Dynamics. I had skills in Azure DevOps. They mentioned that they wanted somebody that has outstanding technical skills utilizing products such as Microsoft Office and Visio. I had skills in that. So those were the things I looked at that, oh, these are the most important things. They want somebody who would be able to provide workshops to business subject matter experts. They want somebody that can present and explain complicated technical ideas and concepts. So for me, those were the takeaway. So I'll show the resume that I used. Please let me know if you can see the resume.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
So now this is the resume that I used to apply for that role. Because they had mentioned that they wanted somebody who would be a facilitator, first of all, I don't normally put that that summary that we put there. You said I'm the kindest person of all, I'm the most this, I'm very this and that. I feel that a lot of recruiters have gone beyond all that story. For me, I feel the most important thing is to quickly highlight your work experience and your work experience skills at the first glance, because a lot of people are submitting resumes and hiring managers don't have all the time in the world to look at your 22 pages or your 3-4 pages. People have moved beyond that. People now have they have 1-pager resume, 2-pager resume. 2 is the maximum, really. So to be able to minimize that space, I've taken out all that summary, and I focused on what the hiring manager has said they want. They said they wanted somebody who will be able to lead workshops. I've highlighted that. I said, this was what I did. I put the organization that I've taken out the organizations for privacy, but this was what I put here that I worked with. This is the project. You put your project title if you're a business analyst, is very important. And I said I led workshops with diverse stakeholders for the long screening program, resulting in this documentation, and this led to effective stakeholder engagement. They talked about Visio. I did not just put Visio on my skill. I'm saying here that I developed process roadmaps with BPMN in Visio, clarifying project milestones and enhancing stakeholder engagement. They talked about CRM dynamics. Here I said I led the implementation and customization of CRM dynamics, including the migration of data from legacy systems to a cloud-based database. They talked about somebody that has experience in mock-up, and that's what they wanted. So here, I'm highlighting it here so that they can see at a first glance that I designed user interface mockup in Figma for Microsoft Dynamics, clarifying prototype design and functionality, facilitating stakeholder understanding, and supporting informed decision. So I've been able to tweak everything that they said they wanted, and I have put it on the first glance. Now, I also included other things that I did. Here, they mentioned that they wanted somebody who had experience in SharePoint or on the items of skills that they wanted. Here, I said I developed and deployed Power Apps using SharePoint leads as a data source to streamline registration process. And then here, I highlighted my other fantastic things that I've done that they may not be interested in. And then I highlighted my education, and then I highlighted my certifications and my skill summary, such that it was very important that I was hitting the nail on the head in very few pages. This is an example of the kind of resume that you might want to have as a business analyst, preferably not more than 2 pages. I like the most important things at the very first section of the page. This is what the recruiter said they want. Please put that I highlight that on the very first section of your experience. It's very important that you do that. Everything that they've said that they want, be able to explain it in a story. Don't just put it under your skill because they've said Microsoft Dynamics, then under your skill, you now put Microsoft Dynamics, then you still leave your resume the way it is. It will not be attractive to them. You need to be able to weave it into a story such that it will catch their attention. These are the things they said they want. These are the things that I have. But I've been able to map it in a story as part of my experience. I just wanted to share that. I know we see it a lot, that tweak your resume for every job role. It looks like a daunting task, but if you're looking for a BA role, it is a daunting task. A lot of people are experienced and skilled. You need to be able to do the work. Yeah, I thought to just quickly share that. Okay. Also, if you don't know about using JobScan, it's very important that you use JobScan on your resume when you are trying to apply for roles, especially if you're applying for roles that are very competitive. You're applying for a product owner role in Amazon, Spotify. Those kind of roles are very competitive. You want to ensure that the skills that are on your resume matches exactly what the hiring manager wants you to have. So what you will need to do is to go to JobScan. If you go to your Google, you put JobScan, it will ask you to subscribe. What it does for you is that it has a place where you put your resume, and then it has a place where you put the job advertised, and then it helps you to be able to come up with a percentage to show you that this is the percentage of your skill match to the job advertised. And the reason why this is important is because some organizations use what we call ATS, application tracking system. And what that means is that when you're applying for a job, because so many people are applying for that particular job, especially if you see a job on LinkedIn, because so many people are applying for a particular job, they don't have the time to sift through all the resume. Now, the ATS does start on their behalf, which is why no matter how great your resume is, or no matter how experienced you are, if your skills does not match in percentage to what they feel that you should have, nobody would see your resume. So you must make sure that when you use JobScan, that you have at least 85 upward, 90% preferably skill match to the job advertised, so that the recruiter can even see. They can even look at your CV. They can even consider you. If you don't do all that, then nobody will see your resume. So if you're applying for role jobs via LinkedIn that you saw on LinkedIn, or very competitive jobs, it's very important that you use tools like JobScan. I know that after you use it like 3 times, it will ask you to subscribe. But if you're looking for a job, those are investments that pays off for you. You must be able to invest in getting a good job, a well-paying job. So do extra. Reach out for Reach out on LinkedIn for referral, ask for referral. If you know organizations where they have referral policy, reach out to people to ask them to refer you so that you can even be considered. Of recent, when I was trying to look for a job, I reached out to somebody on LinkedIn. We've been friends for a while on LinkedIn, but we haven't had to chat, but we've been friends on LinkedIn. But I'd been trying to get into this organization and I wasn't even getting any calls. So I reached out to him and asked him to refer me. He told me bluntly that he couldn't because he didn't know me. Well, maybe not in that way, but in a nice way to say, I don't really know you. Can't refer you like that. That was the vibe I got. But I thanked him anyway and moved on. Now, it may have been him or it may not have been him. But just 5 days after, I got a call from the organization. Although they went on to give that role to an internal candidate. But I could see that this is the power of reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Those are things you must be able to do. You see somebody thriving and in business analysis, you've looked at their profile and you can reach out and say that, can you be my mentor? Or I'd like to learn more. There's nothing wrong with that. Also, when you're applying for job roles, understand that people are doing a lot. People are doing a lot. There's another role I also applied for. They wanted you to send your resume. They wanted you to send your cover letter. But I went above that and even sent a 90-day plan. My 90-day plan, I highlighted what I was going to do in 90 days as a business analyst. And it was a good visual, explaining it in details, looking at what they had advertised. I also went to do a research on the company and then did a 90-day plan of what I felt would be a sustainable thing for the organization. And I had all of them looking at, in fact, like 3 or 4 people of the members of that organization kept on looking at my LinkedIn profile. There was a lot of attention that I got because I went out of my way. I did get the request to come do some pre-screening, I think it was pre-screening exam, or was the exam or something, but I didn't pay attention to it because I'd gotten another job then. So those are the things that business analysts, those are the things you should be able to do to get a BA role. You must be able to do extra. You're competing with very highly skilled people. We have those who are business analysts who have been on contract. Also, when that contract expires, they are looking for another role. Those are the people that you're competing with. You cannot say that I have one cover letter that I sent to everyone, or say that you don't even send out cover letter at all, and then you're not ready to become a business analyst. So you must be able to do such things, these extra things. I also have someone who told me, I'm like, you even overdid this one, told me that they reached out to the recruiter and said they did an audio or a video of themselves highlighting what they felt was very good about the organization, what were the likely gaps, what they feel the role of a business analyst will be able to do for that organization and things like that, and introduced themselves at the end and then sent that video to the hiring manager and got the job. I'm like, you mean these are the things that you people do to get jobs? You have to be able to do extra. You have to be able to do the work to get a business analyst role. Like I said, you can update your LinkedIn, indicate that you're looking for a job, reach out to recruiting agencies. There are a lot of recruiting agencies out there that would even reach out to you once you update your profile on LinkedIn. These recruiting organizations, they recruit on behalf of other organizations. So they will reach out to you and ask you that how much would you like to earn per hour as a business analyst? And then they will ask you to, work on your resume. There are some supplementary forms that you may fill depending on the organization, and they'll help you submit your resume. Now, if the organization finds your resume suitable, the organization will then reach out to the agent who would reach out to you, and then you can have an interview and then go on to work for the organization. This usually works for contract roles, but sometimes for permanent roles too. So, which is why it's very important that you update your LinkedIn. It's very important that you update your LinkedIn. For those who have been successful in terms of you submitted your resume at some point for a business analyst role, at some point you've gotten requests for a pre-screening test, please take it seriously. The pre-screening test is as important as the interview. The pre-screening test is, so what most organizations do now, because there are a lot of people applying for business analyst role, a lot of them are certified. You have them, maybe like they have 50 people apply for the role, and the 50 of them, they are looking okay. What they do now is that to be able to select, they will send out pre-screening tests. Now, those pre-screening tests, you need to take them seriously. That is you need to shine with the pre-screening test. You need to do researches. You need to show somebody, if you're in Lofty Heights now and you need to show someone, you can walk up to me or say, can we discuss this pre-screening test? Just make sure that you do your best. You take to instructions for as required on the pre-screening. And usually the pre-screening tests are not necessarily examination. They might be a case study. They might say do status update. It might be a project sort of, and they would ask you to submit it within 3 days. Please put in your best when you see any pre-screening test. Do your best to be outstanding. And I think I would also address the set of people who I know 2 people now who have told me that they've gone for several interviews and they've just not been successful. Somebody even told me that, that they've not been successful now, so they are thinking of going to do nothing. And I'm asking, is it that you are doing this one, do not do? Is it kalo for you? Do you really want to become a business analyst? You need to put in the work. Don't say that I've done several interviews, it's not working, then I'm going to nursing or I'm going to do something entirely different. So this is the trick. If you go for an interview, you have to be outstanding. I know that most of us know that we should use STAR when we go for an interview. For instance, they ask you, what are the documents that you have used as a business analyst? And then because you are using STAR, you say, a unit in my department, the procurement unit, was looking to streamline their process, and my task was to document that. And then I used BRD, I used use cases and user stories. And the result is that it was a fantastic project. It went so well. You have used STAR, but my brother and my sister, you need to hear what people say during interviews. That one is not you have just used STAR, you haven't gone into in-depth details. If they ask you a question as a business analyst, and I had to learn from this personally, you need to go all out and say talk. Be a talkative if you have to be. So maybe I'll coin it better this way. If they ask you that, what documents have you used as a business analyst? Maybe the better way to coin it is, an organization in my unit, the procurement team, were having a lot of challenges with the manual process of requisition of this and that. They needed to find a solution, a digital solution that would help them automate the process of the procurement process. My task was to work with them to be able to achieve this. And I started doing this by having a gathering session. I led workshops with them to understand what the core problems were. I used techniques such as blah, 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 maybe 5 whys to ask them what the problems were. When I got out the problems, I validated with them using the flow chart to show if this was what they needed or what they wanted. When I was able to do this, I used the BRD to document. On the document, I highlighted the scope, I highlighted the objective, I highlighted the current process that was being used and the future process. I identified what the functional requirements are and what the functional requirements were not. I also used use cases to be able to show the interaction between systems and this, where I identified what the preconditions were and what the preconditions were not. Now, you've mentioned all the documents that you've used, but you've also mentioned how you gathered requirements. You also mentioned that you know what should be in those documents. Those are very important things you need to say, and then go to the result to say, in terms of if it's an organization that is profitable, this was how we made this was how much we saved in cost. This was how much we made in profit. This was the result in terms of user satisfaction. This was the result in terms of, you need to go into all those specific details. I was at the library some months back, and somebody came for somebody had an interview there. I don't know why they will have an interview at the library, but they had an interview in the library, and I couldn't hear what was being told to them, but from the response the man was giving, I could tell that he was a business analyst or a project manager, either of those. And the way he was giving those answers in details, I'm like, wow, this guy is good. And he may not even get the job because people are that good out there. The people are highly skilled. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you cannot be the bare minimum. You need to be outstanding. And it is not rocket science. Nobody came here outstanding. We all had to learn. I learned through my first job. I've had several interviews. If you're a member of Lofty Heights, I can compile, if you're interested, I can compile interview questions. I have a compilation of the questions they have asked me during interviews. And those are the things that have helped me get other roles. There's nobody that is a Superman. We all learn it. You learn it through on the job. You learn it through the interviews they've told you no. You've learned it from mails that you submitted and they have rejected you. I guess the most important thing is for you to always prepare for your interview, prepare for your pre-screening, prepare your resume, prepare for the job. Be willing to learn. The job of a business analyst, you cannot know it all. You're learning new processes. You're learning new people, how to work with new people. You're learning new culture. You have to consistently learn. It's not a place where you go to and say, oh, I think I know it all. You cannot fully know it all. You have to keep learning. So don't be worried that, oh, can I do all these things? These are all the things that I've had to do. And I don't even consider myself how would I say it? I always consider myself very average. And these are things that I've learned to do based on experiences. And I think that it will be something very easy for everyone to learn. I think I'll stop by saying that the job of a business analyst, by the time you get your foot in, is a very rewarding one. Financially, it gives you your time. You have your Saturdays and Sundays off. It is not structured. You can, in between breaks is allowed. You can decide that, I am not able to go to work today and it doesn't disrupt anything. And if you're somebody that you get excited by new things, you're constantly looking for solutions to things, the idea of something new happening another day excites you. This will be the career path for you. It's a very exciting role. You get to meet a lot of people. If you're a shy person like me, you get to come out of your shell. You get knowledge, you get to be, and people will begin to say this person is really intelligent when it's just because of all the experiences that you've had and not necessarily outstanding than the next person. It's a place where you constantly learn and you evolve. So it's a good career path in terms of financial rewards, in terms of personal rewards, and maybe eventually you can even learn to solution and find a business for yourself to do, and also thrive in that aspect. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. I think I'm right on time, right, Yinka?
Yes, please. Right on time. Thank you very much for the insightful presentation. Thank you. Even me, I gain a lot. I gain a lot from this session. And we can very quickly jump into the Q&A now. I don't know, do we have any questions? If you have questions, please raise your hands before I go to the chats. Questions we have in the chats. Can we do questions first from everyone? Does anyone have questions for Seun? We better have questions. Or maybe let me do a quick recap for us so that and then after that we can go into questions. Very quick remark. Even me, I jot a lot of things down. Even as an HR professional, very quickly I was just thinking and asking myself whilst she was presenting, this is an interesting one. If I really want to transition into business analysts, so what exactly or which area should be a career path for me that would be of interest. So because before now, my own knowledge about business analysis is everything is just BA. I never knew we have sections or career paths that you can actually focus on, even though you can be an expert in all, but you can also pick one area that you really want to focus on. So looking at it and saying, oh, do I want to be a business analyst? Do I want to be a business system analyst? Do I want to be a product owner? Or even looking into business data analyst, which is the area that I feel, oh, this would be a very good one for me. while she was presenting, I was thinking about, okay, business data analyst will be nice if I want to consider going into business analyst. But for now, no. Or do I want to look into becoming a business process analyst? So as Seun was able to, give us all the details of how and which career path might be of interest, we can then think of, oh, which of this career path will I want to transition into? Or do you want to look at the helicopter view of being a business analyst and say, oh, this is an area, or I want to do it all? And she did make mention of how you need to know some of the skills. You can know it all from day one. And even if this is a business analyst line that you really want to transition into, you can learn from YouTube. Is if there are a lot of free resources online, just use your spare time to learn on YouTube, learn the skills that are required for you to become a business analyst. And also we have courses on Udemy that she made mention of. You can just take your time out and search courses on Udemy. There are a lot of free courses, and there are even a lot of cheap courses out there that are not too expensive. She also made mention of how majority of us make the mistake of, oh, you need to be a certified business analyst before you start looking for a job. You don't necessarily have to have the CBAP. Of course, you can plan towards getting CBAP, but that shouldn't be your first priority. Just look at the skills that you have, look at the skills that you need to gain to be able to easily transition. And more importantly, what career path are you looking at? And then start beginning to plan your journey towards becoming a business analyst. I most importantly also like how she itemized the action points that are required. Just like I mentioned, the action points, you need to look at the relevant skills that are required. You need to look at courses on YouTube, on Udemy. You also need to very quickly be looking at, even if you don't want to apply for jobs now, you can just take your time to start looking at those job adverts. Look or read through the job descriptions. Is there something that you think you can do or of interest? And if there's some job descriptions, line items that you feel, oh, this looks too technical, you can very quickly look it up on YouTube and Google what is required to be able to effectively get that job done. And also, in getting a job in BA, just quick recap on how you need to tailor your resume. You don't need to use one resume and use it to apply for 100 number of jobs. You need to be able to checkmate how you can tailor your resume to apply for BA jobs. For each of the job adverts out there, there are a lot of they could have similarities, but there are a lot of differences as well in how recruiters or hiring managers have tailored their job requirements. So you need to learn how you will be able to tailor your resume to the job descriptions. And thank you very much, Seun, for sharing both the job advert and also sharing the resume that you use to apply for the job advert. I'm sure a number of the attendees might want to get a copy of that. And if you don't mind, if you need that, I will drop an email where you can share your request, and then we can equally share a sample with you so that you look at how you can tailor your resume. And she also made mention of JobScan. I also know that JobScan, you can do some free job match where you can match the job description with your resume. So I think you have 3 free trials. And what I know people typically do if they don't want to pay is they do the trial today. Within a week, the following week, I think you can still do another trial. But if you know that this is a resource that it's good for you, why not just make payment for it? It's not too expensive. It's something that everybody can afford. I think it's even less than $5 for you to be able to, you know, subscribe for it. And network. Thank you, Seun, for reiterating that. You can't just hide. Seun is mentioning that shy person like her. If shy person like Seun can come out and reach out to people that she doesn't know. So who are you? Please reach out to people. Connect with even Seun Okunlola on LinkedIn. Connect to a lot of business BA professionals on LinkedIn. Reach out to them, not necessarily asking them for jobs at the very first time. You know, just reach out to them and let them share how their experience is going, or just ask them some subtle questions. More like begin to start conversations with them. And you never can tell when a role opens in their respective organization. You might be the first person they reach out to say, oh, will you be interested in applying for this role? And I typically like how she equally mentioned you going out of your way to apply for jobs. Thank you, Seun, for sharing that. I think that is a major takeaway and should be a major takeaway for everyone. Not necessarily just applying for jobs by submitting your resume. You need to equally attach your cover letter. And if need be, go out of your way to also prepare a 90-day plan. You never can tell when the phone call or the screening session will come. Just get all those things ready so that when it comes, you don't need to start, you know, scouting around or preparing or rushing to say, oh, let me get this done, and then avoiding getting it done properly. And it's also an interesting one to know that somebody did a video recording of himself. This is my first time of reading that. And also sharing it with the recruiter or the hiring manager. That's an interesting one for me. And thank you, Seun, for sharing all the tricks for interviews and how we can get BA job. And lastly, for the compilation of the BA interview questions, I'm sure majority of us will want to have that. Please drop a comment or reach out to us via the email that's communicated the program with you, and then we can always share. Thank you very much, Seun, once again, and then let's go to Q&A. If you have questions, or I can see Moturayo. Moturayo, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself and ask questions now. Thank you.
Thank you, Yinka. So a quick question for Seun. Thank you so much, Seun, for that very educative session. I had a lot of takeaways from it. You will both agree with me that looking for a job is more like a job on its own, right? Because it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of your time, even having to rework your CV. Now, my question is, you have a lot of years of experience. I have struggled with that to be able to coin my CV. I heard Seun say that an ideal CV is about a 2-pager. I have struggled to be able to limit my CV to a 2-pager, even with the use of an AI tool. So my direct question is, what exactly should be the maximum per your years of experience? Say, for example, my last organization, what is the maximum bullet point I can have to capture as much as what I have done and also not shortchange myself? Can it be 3? Can it be 4?
Okay.
And, I don't know. I've tried to use the AI tool, but it's still always as long as, say, 3, or sometimes spilling up to 4. And I hear you say an ideal one, it should be at least 2. What other things can I explore? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tura, for the question. Let me see if I can share my screen again so that I can show my resume. So it would depend now. First of all, like I said, the first thing I did was to take out all the summary. So if you still have that summary page, that takes a lot of time. This might be the time that you want to take it out. You need to be able to tweak your resume based on the requirements of what has been advertised. To be sincere, more often than not, they are not interested in all the experiences that you say that you have. And that's the honest truth. If you have 10 years experience, 15 years experience, they are not interested if it doesn't have a relationship or if it's not something they are willing to see. Now, if you see the job description, it wasn't a lot. What they've said that they wanted, if you looked at the job that was advertised, it wasn't a lot. Walk around what they have said that they want. That's all you need to do. There's no shortchanging. Where you shortchange yourself is where you do not capitalize or itemize the most important things. As far as you've done that, that's the most important thing. In this particular project now, so what I always do is that I always itemize my project because as a BA, that's what they want to see. What projects have you done? On this now, I have 4 bullet points, but on the 4 bullet points, I've said everything. I've told them that I have experience leading workshops. I've told them that I know documentation, and this is the documentation I've done. I've told them that I know Visio. I've told them I know Dynamics. I've told them that I know mockups in terms of Figma. I've told them that I understand cloud-based. I've told them that I understand legacy systems. So those are the things that you should highlight. It doesn't have to be a lot, just straight to the point. They don't have all that time. That's the truth. They have a lot of resumes and there's not enough time to look at all of them. You have to be able to catch them at the first glance, which is why you don't need to have a lot. In this project now, I only highlighted 3 things. I said, this is what I did for UX. I talked about user stories because I understand that they want something with Azure DevOps. And then here I talked about SharePoint. I just hit the nail on the head. And then this organization I'm saying that I worked on 2 separate projects here. And then I've itemized it. So those are the important things. You don't need to very short bullet points, some 3, some projects bullet points 3, some 4, very short. And your skills, because you've highlighted your skills, I had an extensive skill session before that was taking a lot of space, which was not necessary because I already talked about those skills up front anyway. So they don't need to be all that. This is just a skill summary where you're saying these are the things that I've been able to do. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the recruiter is not necessarily interested in, they are not interested in the number of years that you've worked or your experience. They just want to know that that experience relates to what they're currently looking at. And those are the ones that you should highlight in bullet points. Now, the best way to do that, if you want to use ChatGPT, might not be for you to copy everything, which is what a lot of us would do. Copy everything and then say, ChatGPT, help me as advertised on the job. Then ChatGPT comes up with a wonderful 4-pager. Another thing you might do is that look at the skills. I want something in Microsoft. I want somebody that has experience in Microsoft Dynamics. If you've used Microsoft Dynamics before, if you've not used it before, you can copy that Microsoft Dynamics, write something for yourself to say, I have experience in Microsoft Dynamics, implementing blah, blah, blah. ChatGPT will help you coin it in a better way. So you don't need to copy the whole thing and paste. You can copy those skills, you can just highlight those skills and put it on ChatGPT. It will come up with 1-line job description for you, and you can continue to modify that 1 line. If it's too much, you're looking at your space, it's more than 2 pages, you can continue to modify that 1 liner so that you do not have more than 2 pages. That's the best way to do it. As against copying the whole thing and asking ChatGPT to help you. Just look at the skills. Say, I have experience implementing Dynamics. ChatGPT will most likely come up with something fantastic for you.
Thank you very much. You nailed it. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, thank you, Seun. And also to add Moturayo and to others too, you can see from the resume shared, Seun's resume, she doesn't have prior experiences. She doesn't have other experiences in Nigeria where she's worked in the bank or as a product owner. So the mistakes that most of us do is because we've had numerous experiences back home and we want to include them in our resume. Those are not necessary because the recruiter are not interested. So all they want to focus on is what can you do? How can you do the job? So like they say, when recruiters post roles, what they want to know is, can you get the job done? Are you able to do the job? And how can you show that you're able to do the job? Like Seun mentioned, first glance, your resume should detail what you've done. Even if you don't have prior experience on that, showcase how you can do it, basically. And then with maximum of 2 pages, you should be able to tailor all of that. Thank you for that wonderful question, Moturayo.
Yeah, in addition, Yinka said, you're right. I didn't put over, I have over 14 years experience. I didn't put my experience in human resources and the rest of it. Just the most important job roles is what you put on your resume.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Do we have another question before we go to the chats? Do we have any hands raised? No. Does anyone have questions before I move on to the chats? Okay. None. Thank you. So, Seun, I have a question here. So somebody asked, Grace has asked, what is the name of the organization you register with to go through the CBAP training?
So the name of the organization is I think CL, I think CL, CIEL. I don't know if I have that spelling right now. They have the Learning Institute somewhere in Lagos, on Lagos Island, but they also offer online training. So if you are here, they would also be able to do something. But apart from that, there's so many others. I'm not sure if I have the spelling right now, but I think it's CIEL.
Okay. I'm sure Grace got that. So Yeti asks, do you need to get a university certificate course for a BA role or just certification?
Well, for most of the, so this would depend on the job advertised. If you look at the job advertised, some of them would say you should have a bachelor's degree in engineering or computer science, which means that they want somebody who has a bachelor's degree. Some of them will go ahead to say that you should also have masters in business administration. So for those kind of job roles, they've told you that this is what they want. Now, if you have a job role where they didn't specify that, they just specified that you should have your certification, or where they maybe put it that a diploma is enough or something like that. So I think that would depend on the job advertised and what they have indicated that they want as requirements in terms of your education.
Okay. And also, just to add, for those that maybe you've started your CBAP training or your CBAP lectures, but you're yet to do the certification, you can equally include it in your resume and just indicate that pursuing CBAP or EV or whatever, just for the recruiter or the hiring manager to know that, oh, you're working towards getting your certification. Okay, next question is, this person, Emmanuel has asked that you didn't have your name, heading, and contact information on the resume. Was this how you submitted this?
No, this was not how so I have my own templated resume that kind of designed my name on it, but because I just wanted to show a sample, I didn't include all that. Of course, you have to include your name, you have to include your location, you have to include your LinkedIn profile, you have to include your phone numbers and your email address. Those are very important.
Yeah. So, Emmanuel, thank you for that wonderful question. And also, just to add, in including your address, you can just include your location. You don't need to include your full address. You can just say Regina, Saskatchewan. But the most important one is include your name, your mobile number, contact number, your LinkedIn address. I'm sure majority of us know how to shorten that to just indicate just your name with a link and not necessarily the long link. And then I think that's all. That's the most critical thing that you need to include. And immediately after that, just go straight to your achievements or your experience and how it's targeted to the role that you're applying for. Other questions for now. We still have time? If you have questions, please ask. This is the right time to get hold of Seun now. Let's ask questions if we have. We still have some few minutes. And do we have, let me double check again that we don't have any hands raised. Okay, so we don't have any hands raised. So on that note, we've come to the end of today's this morning session on business transitioning into business analyst. And a sincere appreciation goes to Seun, who is the senior business analyst, for facilitating this session. Seun, I would say on behalf of everyone, on behalf of Lofty Heights Christian Center, on behalf of CareeeLeap and all participants, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time out to gather the materials and also present this session this morning. Thank you for the insightful and very engaging presentation. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your life history, and how you got the PA job. And even from before you even landed to Canada, how you started searching and inquiring about what you can do. And since you found the lane that you want to jump into, how you then transition into business analysis, which is more importantly for those that thought, oh, everyone was just a BA before they came to Canada. No, you can be a nurse and then transition into BA. You can be a factory worker, an operation officer, not necessarily be a techie person. Business analyst is not for just people that are very techie. You can be an HR professional, just like she mentioned. She was an HR professional, transitioned into product manager, owner, and then into BA. Just find your lane. If it's BA is something that you really want to transition into, just with the few points that Seun has been able to highlight, you can actually transition into BA. So thank you very much, Seun, for sharing all of that with us. And we could see from your experience, and the passion is there. And we can see that you're a subject matter expert in that area. And thank you once again for sharing your real world examples, the practical tips on how to get jobs in BA, and also how to network with people on LinkedIn, how to attend seminars, how to tailor resumes in getting the BA job. Just want to say thank you for taking the time out. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and also for being an inspiring facilitator. Please, if you wouldn't mind people connecting on LinkedIn, kindly drop your LinkedIn address or link so that people can connect if they want to. And on that note, I will say thank you very much for everyone for being a part of this session this morning. And we've come to the end of the program. And also for those that are not aware of who we are, we started with a brief introduction of who we are. We are Lofty Heights Christian Center, and CareeeLeap is an outskirts of Lofty Heights Christian Center. And in Lofty Heights, we are just, we exist basically to raise kingdom influencers. So what we do is we have our church located at the Hack, that's on Saskatchewan Drive. And then you can also join us, if you're not in Regina, you can join us on YouTube live every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central African time, and also every Wednesday by 7 p.m. for our recharge program. And on that note, I would say thank you to everyone for taking the time out to attend this morning session. And I hope and I believe that we have a lot of takeaways, and also pray and hope that we will get our desired job in our field, in the BA field that we are looking to transition to. And if for any reason you need help, you need further clarifications, you need questions, you can always email the email address that we use to communicate to you, and then we will be willing to help or assist or handhold you in any way we can. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Do enjoy the rest of your Saturday and have a beautiful weekend. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now. The second program will start at 12. For those that are looking to transition into database administration, we will start by 12 noon. Thank you, everyone, for joining.